He's back. Sean Connery as James Bond. 007 in Ian Fleming's Diamonds Are Forever. From the diamond fields of South Africa to the casinos of Las Vegas and a rocket site in the Nevada desert, Sean Connery in the newest, greatest Bond adventure of them all. Diamonds Are Forever. Rated GT.
Welcome to Trimming the Movie Fat, the podcast where we trim films from franchises that don't belong. And thank you for joining us for our penultimate show dedicated to Bond, James Bond. Sean Connery's return for his final official Bond movie, 1971's Diamonds Are Forever. And joining me again are my brother Paul and friend Paul.
You've been waiting for him. Asking for him. Now he's here.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
He's back in a new Bond spectacular.
Welcome to hell, Blofeld.
He's back.
Good evening.
And we're back to what great movies are all about.
Hey, what the hell is this? Hey, listen, you can't do this to me. I've got friends in this town.
Outrageous, fun-making thrills.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
He's back. The character who runs rings around his enemies in Diamonds Are Forever. Forever, forever. And they're back. Some rare facets of female bondage.
Well, that's quite a nice little nothing you're almost wearing. I approve.
I don't dress for the hired help.
Starring Jill St. John, Charles Gray, and he's back as Blofeld, 007 style.
Good evening, 007.
From the diamond territory of South Africa.
Curious how everyone who touches those diamonds seems to die.
The canals of Amsterdam. To the gaming halls of Las Vegas.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
To the rocket sites of Nevada. Sean Connery, alias James Bond 007, is back in action.
Diamonds are forever, 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 forever. And ever.
Is it a very faithful script to Fleming's original novel?
I have never read the novel. I don't know. I think that I only read about 3 of them. I read Thunderball, because that was the first one we were supposed to do. Live and Let Die, and From Russia with Love.
Why have you not read the rest?
I don't really know.
What about Bond's women? Are they as glamorous and as sexy as ever?
Yes, I think Jill St. John and Lana Wood certainly filled, I was going to say something else, but the bill.
Diamonds Are Forever was released in 1971 and directed by Guy Hamilton. So the plot for this one, well, while investigating mysterious activities in the world diamond market, 007, played by Sean Connery, discovers that his evil nemesis Blofeld, this time played by Charles Gray, is stockpiling the gems to use in his deadly laser satellite. So with the help of beautiful smuggler Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John, sets out to stop the madman as the fate of the world hangs in the balance. So the gross for this movie, it took 116 million US dollars worldwide on a budget of 7.2 million. So it made over 16 times its budget, so a big success for the producers. Ratings-wise, it has a 64% fresh Rotten Tomatoes score, a 57 Rotten Tomatoes audience score, and over on IMDb it's got a 6.5 out of 10 audience rating and a 59 out of 100 critic metascore. And here's a fact for you. Sir Sean Connery made the most of his time on location in Las Vegas. He said, I didn't get any sleep at all. We shot every night. I caught all the shows and played golf all day. On the weekend, I collapsed. Boy, did I collapse. Like a skull with legs. So he also played the slot machines and once delayed a scene because he was collecting his winnings. So it's fair to say he had a really good time in Las Vegas, yeah. And there's a mistake, well, actually, there's more than one mistake in the movie, but one to point out here. The man Bond attacks in the very first scene manages to scream Cairo without moving his mouth, which is quite impressive.
Where is Blofeld?
Cairo!
And in summary, courtesy of Rotten Tomatoes, Diamonds Are Forever is a largely derivative affair, but it's still pretty entertaining nonetheless, thanks to great stunts, witty dialogue, and the presence of Sean Connery. So, gentlemen, first of all, welcome. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Good, thank you.
Good. So, when and where did you first see Diamonds Are Forever, and what's your overall impression of it as a Bond film? You know, does it feel like a classic Bond to you? Does it stand out in the franchise? What are your thoughts?
I thought it was quite middling, actually. I wasn't all that enamoured with it. I saw it the first time on TV, the usual story ITV showing it on a Sunday night. And I just thought it was quite, it wasn't boring, but just by the numbers, really. And I think with Sean Connery looked like he was doing it by the numbers as well. I don't think he was all that interested in it. I think his wig was more interested in it. And I just thought there was no real humour. The two baddies were pretty good. That Mr. Kim and Mr. Wint, they were pretty good. But, I just thought it was average at best. It was not exciting. It just seemed meh, a bit sort of dull, really. No spark to it, no wit, nothing. Just, let's get this done.
Very much a middle-of-the-road Bond for you, yeah?
Yeah, it was just, I think, it was pretty tired, I think. I think Sean Connery was just looked like he was doing it for the sake of it rather than actually wanting to be there. That's the kind of vibe I got. And I mean, the story itself was okay. Pretty bog standard, to be honest. Nothing to get you going, really. And the music was a bit dull as well. I thought, not the spark of like Goldfinger or The Spy Who Loved Me or some of the other Bond films. Yeah, I just thought it was average at best.
The bit I disagree with is probably Sean Connery. I think he's really good in this because I think it's almost like he's had a break from it. He knows that Bond needs him because On Her Majesty's, well, in retrospect, is one of the best films. It was a disappointment at the time, financially and everything, and I think so the fact that they pulled out all the stops to get Sean Connery back and made him the highest paid actor in the world at that time.
Sean Connery, meanwhile, negotiates a record sum for his return.
They had given him, I guess, a deal he couldn't refuse.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. He got the unheard of sum of, I think, $1,200,000 for the film, which in 1970 was just extraordinary.
Sean gave all that money away, and it was $1.25 million.
He contributed his fee to the Scottish Educational Trust Fund.
And I think Sean Connery it's almost like he's a bit more self-assured in it, a bit like maybe, because I feel from Thunderball and You Only Live Twice, he was kind of going through the motions, whereas this one, he's a bit more in control, and he's maybe, because he's probably getting paid what he feels he should have been getting paid anyway. And so I think, obviously, his weight, he's piled on the weight for this compared to the previous films.
Presumably I'm the condemned man.
obviously you're the hearty breakfast, right?
But I think I think his performance is good. It's one of those films where I think when you look back, it's probably not as good as you remembered when you were a kid when you watched it. First time I saw it, I think was on a Monday. I don't know if it was taped, but I remember watching it on a Monday holiday when we were kids. But no, I like the film. It's not one of the best ones, but I quite like. It's quite daft, and it's the start of the sort of the 70s Bond, really, isn't it? Which Roger Moore would then take further, but it's quite camp. I love the locations, Las Vegas and stuff like that, in Amsterdam.
So middle of the pack one for you as well. And I'm in agreement with you. I think it's a middle of the pack one, and it's one of those ones where it's one of those Bonds where you can just put on and disengage your brain. It's just one of those. It's fun, it's not an especially great one or anything, but it's fun enough, and it kind of puts a mockery of the thing where people say that Bond went too camp or too light-hearted and jokey with Roger Moore in Live and Let Die, because it actually does start with this movie. This movie is very different from the 60s ones in that it is much more tongue-in-cheek and things are played for laughs. So it starts with this movie, not with Live and Let Die. And yeah, I mean, it's a decent movie. I think some of it, the story, there was some deleted scenes which would have helped, because some of this doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes when you're trying to follow the story around the diamonds. And obviously, is it Wint Kidd are going around killing all the people that are involved with the diamond smuggling? But there's certain parts of that where you think, what's going on? Because even the old woman that dies, who works in the orphanage, it doesn't look like she lives in the Netherlands, yet she's found dead floating in the water in Amsterdam.
Mrs. Whistler did want some pictures of the canals for the children.
How kind of you, Mr. Kidd. The children will be so thrilled.
And I'm thinking, but it didn't look like she lived there. So what's going? So, and also the bit where Plenty O'Toole's found dead in the swimming pool.
Nice place you have here. Take something off. Enjoy the sun.
You've got a lot of guts showing up here. After letting me freeze my behind off at a blackjack table for 2 hours waiting for some non-existent diamonds. And what the hell is my black wig doing in the pool? She's
dead. Supposed to be you.
And there's no reason for her to be in that swimming pool, but there's a deleted scene that explains why. But it doesn't make any sense without that deleted scene. Why would she be at Tiffany Casey's house?
And Sammy Davis Jr. as well.
Sammy Davis Jr. Yeah, there's a couple of good deleted scenes on this, which you can find on obviously the Blu-rays, DVDs, or on YouTube these days.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, Bert, how are you, baby?
Good. Say, I had a call from Mr. White, said you hadn't signed your contract yet. What's the matter? You got a problem?
No, not too big a problem. Just some money, that's all. Now, you know what amazes me? That a man that's a multi-billionaire living up in that fortress can't come to terms. Now, look, you're the man that I work for, really. Do me a favor, go up and talk to him for me, will you?
You gotta be kidding. I run this place for him, and even I haven't seen him for 3 years. Will you take a look at that?
Well, wow. They ain't never gonna get a cake big enough to put him on top of.
But yeah, in terms of Sean Connery, it's how did he manage to age? So it's 4 years since You Only Live Twice, and Sean Connery looks like he's aged about 10 years at least in 4 years. And I don't know if that's maybe the kind of choice of toupee they gave him. I don't know, but yeah, in terms of his appearance, and also he's not in as good a shape as you said, Paul. He's obviously not as toned as he was. But yeah, I think it was like Connery's enjoying himself in this movie. I think he's playing it for laugh, a bit of a light-hearted comedy thing. So yeah, I think he looks like he's enjoying it. And why wouldn't he be? He's having a good old time in Las Vegas. And I think he was having an affair with both Jill St. John and Lana Wood.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
He was playing golf, and he was in the Las Vegas casinos, and he was getting paid the highest ever fee for a movie in history. Why wouldn't he be having a good time?
And Miss Tiffany Case Jones has a lifetime reservation at another hotel, the kind the government runs.
I'm cooperating, Mr. Leiter. Really, I am.
Oh, I can vouch for that.
So we're saying it's a very much a middle of the pack Bond movie. In terms of the change of style, is it quite jarring for you, or does it feel like a natural evolution of the franchise?
I think you compare it to Connery's other films, yeah, it's a bit more camp, if you like, a bit more fun. Because the other ones were a bit edgier, rougher, a bit more Bond-like, according to the books. Whereas this one, yeah, he's probably just got caught up in the atmosphere of Vegas, and if he spent all his time enjoying himself in between filming, then I think that sort of reflects in the performance as well, and the style of the film. It's a bit jazzed up and a bit Vegas-like, all bright lights and showy stuff and having fun. So yeah, I think it was a definite difference in the tone of this film compared to his other ones, and with Roger Moore afterwards, that he just dialed it up to the max. Just took it on and made it more fun and a bit more camp.
And maybe they had to do that, because I know, although in some ways you wish it could stay the way it was, but maybe because it was a different decade, maybe they had to change it for it to survive.
I think maybe from the ending of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, it's a sad ending. So maybe they wanted to liven up a wee bit, make things a bit better, jollier, I suppose. I don't know. But certainly it's quite different in style to his other Bond films.
I mean, I think from a story perspective, in retrospect, it's a big missed opportunity, because the opening minute or two of this movie has got Bond trying to track down Blofeld for obviously killing his wife in the previous movie. And it's a shame, because this movie could have been about that. Bond basically going not off the rails, so to speak, but really just on one track mind. He just wants to track down Blofeld and make him pay, and that would have made a really, really good revenge movie.
Making mud pies, 007.
So it's unfortunate, because you kind of go past those first couple of minutes where it's quite seriously, it's quite serious. He's looking to get Blofeld, and then when he kind of gets to Blofeld, it's all done quite jokingly.
Welcome to hell, Blofeld.
Well, let's talk about Blofeld. Charles Gray's portrayal of Blofeld in this movie. So previously at this point, the kind of unmasked, so to speak, versions of Blofeld we had Donald Pleasance in You Only Live Twice, and we had Telly Savalas in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. How does Charles Gray's portrayal... First of all, I will say it's a shame we've now got a third actor in as many movies playing the same character. Just from a continuity perspective, it's a shame we've got another change here. But how does his performance rank or compare to the other two actors' versions of Blofeld?
You've already seen him in a film, Sean Connery's last film. He played the different character, so from that point of view as well, it doesn't work. He was Henderson, so it doesn't work in that sense. But I just think I like Blofeld to be quite sinister, whereas this guy, it's almost like he's like a pantomime villain. He's behind you.
At one point, he's dressed up like the pantomime dame when he gets in the limousine, dressed like somebody's auntie carrying his cat.
I think it's a bit camp as well. But again, it's part of the film, isn't it? Part of the tone of the film. Every time I saw him, I just kept thinking it's just a jump to the left. From the Rocky Horror Show.
That's right, because it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Well, well, well. Look what the cat dragged in. I'm delighted to meet you, Miss Case. I'd so dreaded the prospect of making this tedious journey alone.
So I thought he was okay as Blofeld, but as Paul said, it wasn't the best portrayal, because Blofeld should be quite sinister and quite evil.
Mm-hmm.
I think Donald Pleasance went a wee bit too far with the old evil speech and everything else. Telly Savalas didn't come across as particularly evil either, just came across as quite normal, didn't seem evil. So I think the best Blofeld was...
The one in Thunderball where you don't see his face?
Yeah, it was.
They don't know who the actor is. I think they keep it a mystery, don't they?
Was that the guy who was in The Exorcist? What's his name?
You're thinking of,
Max
in the
von
Never
Sydow.
Say Never Again in the 80s, Max von Sydow.
Oh, is that Never Say Never Again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Never Say Never Again, yeah.
But the guy who's in the original ones, you don't see his face.
No.
Don't give the actor's name, do they?
No.
I thought that was the best Blofeld because it was sinister but believable. It wasn't too sort of seedy, like Donald Pleasance, and it wasn't normal like Tales of Alice or something in between, like it should be. I think that Charles Gray is just, not as believable as the others. As a villain, just like a pantomime villain, more or less.
Tiffany, my dear. We're showing a bit more cheek than usual, aren't we?
And obviously in this movie, the main two women are Tiffany Case, or Joel St. John, and Plenty O'Toole, Lana Wood. How do you view Bond's relationships with the women in this movie? Are they empowering, or do they fall into the problematic stereotypes?
I tend to notice little things like that, whether a girl is a blonde or a brunette.
And which do you prefer?
Oh, providing the collars and cuffs match.
I don't think they fall into the problematic stereotypes. Maybe not as much as the other ones. I think because attitudes were changing towards women in society and also in films as well. They weren't just seen as eye candy or villains to be bumped off. They were given roles a bit deeper. So I think, you were starting to see that in this film. They weren't just there for show or for Bond to get his leg over. They had a definite purpose in the film. Baddies or on the good side as well.
Bitch.
So yeah, I don't think it was as exploitative as, say, if you remember Thunderball, the one in the shower, oh no, oh yes, there you go, bang. Nothing as bad as that. But I think that's because of the way attitudes were changing.
Did you like Bambi and Thumper?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm Bambi.
Good morning, Bambi.
And I'm Thumper. Is there something we can do for you?
I can think of several things offhand, but at the moment I'm looking for Willard White.
Because for once, women were able to beat up the guys rather than the other way around. They could kick ass. Didn't matter if it was male or female. So yeah, I think they were good characters.
I think that's the first time in the Bond series at that point that a female character was kind of characters got the better of Bond physically. Would that be right?
No, I think that's probably the first time.
Yeah?
I'm afraid you've caught me with more than my hands up.
Hey, what the hell is this? A pervert's convention or something? Hey, listen, you can't do this to me. Stop that! I've got friends in this town!
Exceptionally fine shot.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Yeah, I would say so.
So there's some progress there. And what do you guys think about Las Vegas as a setting for a Bond movie? 'Cause I always think the European settings are more suitable for a Bond movie, the kind of espionage type thing, the older cities, if you like, of Europe. And Las Vegas, if you like, for a Bond movie is a bit jarring. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's maybe a bit camp for the Bond. Old European casinos or other casinos around the world. The European ones are, like you say, historical, old espionage type stories. The casinos in the Far East are a bit more glamorous, exotic, ideal for Bond films. Whereas Vegas is it's quite tacky. And I don't think you'd ever see Bond there for too long unless you really had to go there.
And let's kind of stick with Las Vegas. 'Cause obviously, the majority of the action takes place there. Let me start with you, Brother Paul. What's your favourite action sequence in the movie?
Probably the chase in the car.
I think Larry got him. Sheriff. Attaboy, Larry. Come in. Larry? Sheriff.
Which was
in Las Vegas, yeah?
Yeah. I quite like it being in Las Vegas, actually. I think it's something different. I know what you're saying. A lot of the European settings are good, but I actually like the mixture. I like having the American side of it as well, because that brings something different. So yeah, I quite like the mixture of both. So probably the car chase when he's in that red car, probably.
The Mustang. The ultimate car, and of course there was that mistake in the movie as well, where it goes on two wheels. And I think when they filmed the stunt, I think they'd done it on the right wheels, and then when the car comes out the other way, the stunt guys had it on its left wheels. So yeah, the interior shots had to flip things over because that was a mistake. Yeah, remember that. What about you, Paul? What's your favourite action sequence in the movie?
I think the fight he had with the guy, was it Frank's in the lift
yeah, that's mine
in Amsterdam?
too.
Peter Frank.
Yeah, Frank's, yeah. That was a really good fight.
Who's your floor?
He's pretending he's snogging some bird in the alleyway whilst waiting for him. He's got his arms around him, is like that, and then he just turns around and is like, oh, very good.
Good, that's good. But yeah, I like that scene as well. The fight in the lift. That kind of harkens more back to the '60s Bond, really.
My God. You just killed James Bond.
Is that who it was? Well, it just proves no one's indestructible.
Yeah, right. And so I think, Paul, you'd mentioned that you weren't overly a fan of the music in this movie. So we'll maybe talk about the theme tune sung by Shirley Bassey.
Diamonds are forever. They are all I need to please me. They can stimulate and tease me.
What do you think of it, and where does it rank in the Hall of Fame of James Bond themes?
I think it's a good song. I don't think it's one of the best, but I think it's a good song. Some of the lyrics are really quite silly when you look back now.
Suggestive, are you trying to say?
Yeah, certainly not as good as Goldfinger anyway. There's no doubt about that. But it's, and the soundtrack itself, it's all right. Just reflected the times, I suppose.
A lot of people love Diamonds Are Forever as a song. For a lot of people, it's one of their favourites. It's never been one of mine. I think it's a good song. It's iconic. It's a good song, but it's not one of my favourites. The soundtrack, yeah, I mean, the soundtrack's decent. But yeah, when you compare it to You Only Live Twice or On Majesty's Secret Service, it's definitely a dip in quality compared to them. And I'm guessing, Paul, you're feeling the same?
Yes, I think it is. It's not a bad song, not the best Bond theme, but it's okay. And soundtrack, again, it's okay. There's one section I really like is where they have the sort of bass.
That is good.
It's a double bass. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that's a really good bit. But the rest of it I actually can't remember all that well because it was that memorable.
Yeah.
But compared to other soundtracks, yeah, it's fairly average, I think.
Who are you? What do you want?
Klaus Hergesheimer, G-section. Just checking on radiation shields. Now, let me see. You are...
Professor Dr. Metz. Our shields are fine. Now get out.
I'm sorry. It won't take a moment, but I must verify. Metz. How do you spell it?
Will you please leave, you irritating man?
And we talked a little bit about, but not in any great detail earlier, about the bad guys, Wint and Kidd. So these are the first two openly homosexual characters in the James Bond franchise. And obviously we're kind of viewing these movies now, or this movie, nearly 55 years later, which is unbelievable. Looking back, what do you think of those two guys as characters now?
I think they were good baddies, actually, because they just looked normal. They didn't look sinister, didn't look evil. They didn't have a big sign over the same bad guys. You know, you get a lot of films. It was just two ordinary-looking blokes who happen to be psychopathic killers. I think because of that, it's a bit more genuine as well, a bit more believable.
Yeah.
So a lot of baddies, you think, nah, that's just too obvious. Anyone with half a brain could figure out who the baddie is. But
yeah, I thought they were good. You don't really expect it. And in some ways that makes them scarier because they're like psychotic. And of course, one of them was a country western singer, another one was Crispin Glover's dad.
Yeah, which I never realised till watching, I think when the DVDs came out and I was watching the documentary on Diamonds Are Forever. But they actually get some of the funniest lines in this movie. I think when they've killed the the doctor guy with the scorpion, he's like, "Oh, what is he? Oh, he is sick. He's been bitten by the bug." You know. And I like the one where they're following Tiffany Case. Now, are they on the plane following Tiffany? And
They're both aboard. I must say, Miss Case seems quite attractive. For a lady.
so no, they get a lot of really good lines. I like them in this, but I think a lot of the stuff, yeah, you would not get away with now. And if there was one scene in this movie that you could change now, what would it be?
Maybe that chase, or that sort of lunar buggy chase in the desert. Maybe cut that down a bit, or maybe not have it at all.
Yeah, I probably agree with you on that. You the same, Paul?
Yeah, it was a bit naff, really, that bit. It's good to see the desert.
One bit which isn't naff and still looks great all these years later is when Bond goes out the hotel room.
That's
and obviously goes on top of the elevator to the top, and he's kind of clambering into Blofeld's lair.
Okay, folks, stand clear of the doors. Here we go.
That's still really, really impressive. The special effects of that scene still holds up really, really well.
Like trimming the movie fat, why not check out our other podcast, Trimming the Musical Fat?
Anywho, so let's rate this movie out of 5 and decide whether we'd like to keep it in the franchise or not. So, Brother Paul, what would you say out of 5? What would you give it?
3.
Okay, would you keep it in the series?
Absolutely.
Okay. Paul, what say you?
I think it was bang average, to be honest. I'm going to say 2.5.
Ooh.
I'll go halfway.
Okay, and would you keep it in the series?
Yes, fully just.
So, yeah, for me, I'll probably be a bit more generous. I enjoy this movie, even though I know it's got its faults, but I'd maybe go 3.5, and yeah, I would keep it in there, absolutely. No classic, but still enjoyable. It's what I would call a Sunday afternoon James Bond movie, the kind of one you would just pop on, unobtrusive, and just enjoy. Enjoy it for what it is. Okay, well, thank you then, gentlemen, for that, and we've got one more Bond movie to do, and Paul, you're not going to join us for that one because you've not seen the 1967 Casino Royale in some time, so it's just me and Brother Paul coming back for that one. So thank you for joining us over the last few episodes as we've delved into Connery's Bond. Hope you've enjoyed looking back on Big Tam's tenure as 007.
Oh, sorry, yes. I thought you were going to say goodbye.
Rhetorical
question, thank you. Very good.
Yes, it's been fun reviewing all the good old films, some of the best ones out of the whole franchise. Yeah, Big Tam's still the best Bond ever.
Absolutely. Okay, so thanks to Paul, both Pauls, and thanks to you for listening, and do come back for our final look at Bond. So 1967's Casino Royale, so not an official Bond movie as such. No Sean Connery, no Roger Moore, no George Lazenby. Instead, we get lots of different actors playing Bond. So is it actually, though, worth it? Is it a good movie? No. But yes, you can come back and we'll be talking about it. So if you want to tell us what you think about Sean Connery's time in the Bond role, or Diamonds Are Forever in particular, please get in touch, and you'll find our contact details to do that in the episode description. So we shall see you very soon, and until then, keep trimming.
Trimming the Movie Fat is a Stephen and Paul Nicholson production. We'd love to hear from you. Contact us by voicemail via the Spotify link in the episode description. You can email us at trimmingthemusicfat@gmail.com. Keep up to date with the show and access exclusive content by joining our Facebook group, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and following us on TikTok. You can also check out our website at trimmingthemusicalfat.com. Thanks for listening.